Tonight, a local business counting the cost of the ban on gel blasters. And Waiala residents get their first look at the new Foreshore Hotel.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. A local gel blaster skirmish business has been forced to close due to new legislation classing the toy as a firearm. Wayne Pointer says if the decision isn't reversed, he could lose up to $30,000.
It was just last week that gel blasters were classified as firearms, causing the closure of this skirmish course. The shutdown having a ripple effect on the Stony Creek bush camp.
I'm also losing the campers into the caravan park. I'm also losing the people that would feed from my kitchen, the people that would drink at my bar.
Wayne says last week's announcement has been heartbreaking, not only for his business, but for the birthday parties he's had to now cancel.
A young 15-year-old boy rang me in tears to say that could we please keep going. He's told all his friends his birthday party was coming up. He'd invited all his friends, so he was devastated.
He says he was starting to turn people away due to its popularity. Plans to expand have now been abandoned.
I was starting to realise to cope with that large amount of people that had come to play this game, I was going to have to open up a second field. So I could cope with about 100 people in a day.
Wayne has organised a peaceful protest here at Gladstone Square tomorrow morning in hopes to educate the wider community on the issue.
I'm looking to advise a lot of people that don't understand what's involved in the sport, just to open a few eyes and to see that this isn't it's harmless. There's just all good fun to be had in this sport.
South Australia Police says it's working with TAFE to develop a specific safety course for the firearms. Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A Crystal Brook man's car has been impounded for 28 days after being caught nearly 5 times over the blood alcohol limit. Police pulling over the man on Darwin Terrace at 1 p.m. yesterday, where he allegedly returned a reading of .239. The 50-year-old was reported for drink driving and issued with a 12-month licence disqualification. He'll appear in court at a later date. Port Pirie residents will now be able to catch and release seafood in fishing ban zones following a temporary closure. The Primary Industries Minister making the changes today, but warns consumption of seafood caught in these zones around Waroona Island and Port Germain is still not permitted. The bans were in response to a UniSA study which revealed contaminated waters. Testing for heavy metals start this month and results are expected by the end of the year. Waiala's residents have been given their first look at the replacement for the Foreshore Motor Inn. The $100 million 9-storey building went on display at an information session last night, with apartments already selling.
An impressive structure set to boost tourism down at Waiala's foreshore.
It'll be a significant piece of architecture, and cities in the world are remembered for their architecture.
Plans for the new development now released: a pool, lagoon, underground parking, helicopter pad and multiple restaurants, just some of the key features.
It's exciting to have a rooftop bar in Waiala. You know, I'm so excited about it. We're going to have beautiful restaurants, we're going to have a beautiful function room, swimming pool, meeting rooms, a great asset to this city. Locals learning more about the developer's vision, with local construction and the timeframe, some of the key questions asked about the project.
It's really good for Waiala. The super school started, the jetty started, and if people can see the vision of what it is for Waiala to be a beachfront location, it'd be great.
I think it's amazing. I'm so excited for Waiala. I've lived in Waiala for a long time and I'm really excited to see something like this.
The project is set to use local steel as well as local contractors. And as for the much-loved fig tree out the front,
The tree is staying. I'm passionate about the tree.
the current furniture will all be donated to local community organisations. Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
In just over 40 minutes' time, Port Adelaide will play Richmond in a preliminary final, with the Power looking to make their first grand final since 2007. Local diehards are gearing up for tonight's match, hoping the boys can get the job done.
To this Port Adelaide fanatic, a win tonight would mean the world.
Everything. I mean, anyone that knows me around these parts know that it just means everything to me. So hopefully we can get there and, yeah, that'd be good.
Over the years, he's collected plenty of Power memorabilia, the love for the team running through his blood.
3 generations of my family played league footy for Port Adelaide in the SANFL, so pretty natural when they got in the AFL just to jump on board.
However, this decked-out man cave will be empty tonight with the family watching the game in the flesh.
Being able to see like all the hard tackles and speckies all live without like having to watch it on TV and wishing that you were there, so that's good.
Power fans looking for history to repeat itself against the Tigers.
We haven't won a final for a fair while, so 2014 that was obviously against Richmond, so yeah, hopefully we can do the same against like the Tigers what we did last time.
Anthony says his favourite memory remains Port's first and only AFL premiership 16 years ago.
2004 grand final, I was there, so yeah, that was a pretty special time.
The family will go from Adelaide to Queensland tomorrow, hoping they'll be watching the boys in next week's grand final.
Really excited because if we win that means we're in a grand final and that means I'll get to go and I haven't been to one. Because Port haven't been in a grand final since I've been alive, so that'd be good.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
And don't forget, you can see the big match over on Channel 7 after the news. Still to come tonight, we catch up with the Crystal Brook farmer judged the state's best footballer. And the region's Catholic bishop prepares to say goodbye. Welcome back. Waiala's Sea Rescue Squadron is calling on jetty users to be cautious after receiving reports of a great white shark in waters around the structure. This photo, taken by member of the public Eddie Healy, shows a dark shadow of a 4.5 metre white pointer. The incident reported to the team earlier this morning.
Had a guy come up from the public explaining to us that a member of the public spotted a shark around about 8:30 this morning underneath the circle part of the jetty.
Locals and tourists are being urged not to jump off the jetty. Crystal Brook's Campbell Combs is back home, days after winning the state's top footballing honour. He's not celebrating just yet, with the North Adelaide players' sights firmly set on winning this weekend's SANFL Grand Final.
19 votes to a Crystal Brook farmer who is now the 17th rooster to win the McGarry medal.
It's a huge privilege, to be honest. It's a bit surreal at the moment. It hasn't really sunk in. Probably something I might reflect on more so at the end of the season.
He polled the maximum 3 votes in 6 games and 1 vote in the last home and away match of the season. Commuting from Crystal Brook to Adelaide up to 3 times a week, his coach says it's well deserved.
Campbell's an outstanding young man and it's been a pleasure to coach all year, so we're really fortunate to have not just him but his brother at our footy club.
I've had a lot of support from friends and family and teammates and ex-teammates and old coaches.
Campbell today returning to Crystal Brook Oval, where he says local mentors shaped his football career.
Joel Head would be one as a junior coming through for the Crystal Brook Football Club, and Shane Arbin as well is another one who's been absolutely outstanding.
Growing up in a family full of footballers also helping.
Pa on my mum's side, he won 3 male medals. Dad's dad, like my grandpa, he came runner-up in a male medal as well, and my great uncle, I believe, won one as well.
His focus on this weekend, with North Adelaide playing the Eagles in Sunday's grand final.
With the grand final this weekend, my attention and focus is firmly fixed on this weekend.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
More than 30 motorists have roared into Port Lincoln as part of this year's Variety SA Moto Run. It's one of the first events organised since the pandemic hit, with organisers also confident it's one of the highest fundraisers they've held in several years.
A convoy of 19 luxury cars and 12 motorbikes roaring into Port Lincoln. Variety SA's annual moto run pulling into the city last night as part of its 4-day tour across the region, handing out grants for sick and disadvantaged kids.
every one of us end up in tears at some stage.
More than $100,000 will be handed out over the course of the trip, with Riding for the Disabled Association being gifted more than $40,000 at last night's dinner.
Makes it possible for somebody who would normally have missed out.
The team beaming from ear to ear. They say the money will help provide more horse riding activities for clients who live with disabilities.
They look forward to it every week, and all they know is they're doing something that most of the other kids that are around are maybe not doing.
As well as handing out grants, the motor run is also a major fundraiser and one of the first to get off the ground since the pandemic hit.
It's going to be one of the highest fundraising events, this one, for Moto Run for a long time.
The Variety Bash is also set to make a return this November, travelling through fire-ravaged Kangaroo Island to Adelaide.
The generosity of local people makes a big difference to Variety SA.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Catholic leaders from across the region gathered today to farewell Port Pirie Diocese Bishop Gregor Kelly. Described as a much-loved member of the community, church members taking the opportunity to say goodbye.
A farewell to Bishop O'Kelly, who has captured the heart of Port Pirie. Taking on the job 11 years ago, he's become a familiar face for many. Today, he was recalling his fondest memories.
The relationships, the way people share their life with you, the way they open up and talk to you about themselves, and that you feel you can make a bit of a difference in their lives.
Catholic school leaders travelling from as far as Port Lincoln and Roxby Downs to say their farewells.
I feel humbled that people have gone to such efforts. Humbled and it's very moving.
Sense of sadness and an honouring that I know that the bishop means so much to all of us.
Some little bishops also gathering to say thank you.
And I'm here with a crowd of bishops, and you just see the radical nature of the Port Pirie Diocese. We've got two female bishops here. Now that's a bit of a breakthrough.
He's so personable, and he has literally traversed the diocese so frequently, and he knows them.
With big shoes to fill, a new bishop will soon be joining the church.
We're really looking forward to welcoming and learning from and with and alongside Bishop Carroll when he arrives.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us. The Why Not Art Prize winners announced, and ghost hunters visit a Port Lincoln icon. More than 150 art pieces went on show to the public last night as part of Waiala's very first youth art competition. Locals gathering to cast their eyes over the works entered, with multiple prize winners announced.
For 12-year-old Holly, it was a proud moment to see her artwork on the wall.
Yeah, it feels amazing.
Event organisers calling her piece a standout, with the artist experimenting with gold leaf painting techniques.
I decided to do the jetty because I thought it was a very creative thing we put in Waiala because it's very different, and so I thought I could show my creativeness through the jetty.
This 13-year-old's flower portrait stemming from a photo taken on a fun day out.
The original photo of my painting was taken in Mount Ives at, I think, was an old dam, and we went trekking up the side of a hill and we found some orchids up there.
Talia, along with other participants, were excited to see the creations on display as the Why Not Art Prize officially opened. Madison Shalaw taking out first place for the 7 to 12-year-old category, Alicia Bilning winning the 13 to 18-year-old age group, and in the category of 19 to 26, it was the artwork named The Lookers by Frances Hill which placed first.
Great to see the number of people have turned up, great to see artists see their work on the wall and for them to be that excited about seeing it, which is really beautiful and part of what this experience is about.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Port Lincoln pilots are being encouraged to attend an aviation safety seminar tomorrow. The meeting focusing on how to navigate in bad weather and what to do during a freak storm. Understanding and assessing the weather before and during flight will also be discussed. The meeting will be held tomorrow morning. For more information, contact the Port Lincoln Aero Club. A team of amateur Ghostbusters say there's something strange going on in Port Lincoln. They've set their sights on a local theatre to try and work out exactly what has been going bump in the night.
Something strange in your neighbourhood.
Port Lincoln Theatre could very well have a paranormal past.
A couple of curious things. We can't say there's a ghost there, but we did get a couple of curious things happening out of it.
The Lincoln Cinema on Hallett Place was once a popular nightclub, attracting all manner of guests, and it seems some never left. Alison and Cag are amateur ghost hunters, their gadgets catching out spooks and spirits who are causing mischief.
We had one that is a proximity device that sets up its own field around itself. If you break that field, it's going to set off lights and alarms. And it started to go off.
Among the haunted happenings, some static alarms and even some mystery voices. Perhaps alluding to the venue's raucous past, some of the phantoms are a little foul-mouthed.
It was a little unusual for those words to be heard, so I'm not going to repeat them.
And I thought I heard death just after drunk.
The exploration even uncovering a hidden basement in the bowels of the building.
It's a little dungeon, guys.
The other question is, what was in this spot before the theatre was built?
It's hoped the supernatural secrets could position the theatre as a hotspot for ghost hunters.
Hopefully giving tourism a bit of a boost.
I look forward to coming back at some point, hopefully.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. We will preview the weekend's cricket action. And we'll have the weather details with Britt. Hello again. Time to preview the weekend's cricket matches across the region. Here's our experts with their tips.
Hello and welcome to round 2 of Port Pirie cricket. We start this round with Port Germain taking on Wandera at 8 o'clock at Port Oval. This was meant to be last year's grand final, so both teams will have a point to prove. I'm tipping Port Germain. Following that game, at 1 o'clock, we got Props taking on Southport. Southport had a massive win last week and we're looking to make it 2 in a row this week. So the first time in about 4 years, I'm tipping Southport.
G'day and welcome back to the Port Augusta cricket season for 2020-2021. This week kicks off and we see a grand final replay. Corn will play South Augusta in Corn. This should be a very good match. It's always a good match when you get the two top sides playing. I'm going to lean towards Corn on their own ground. The other match sees Central Stirling take on Westies at Etzer. This should be another close game, but I'm going to lean towards last year where they finished on the ladder. I'm going to lean towards Central Stirling. I reckon they've done a bit of recruiting and they just might be a bit too strong for West Augusta this week.
To the weather now, and the midweek heat has gone, with cool and showery conditions expected this weekend. With the details, here's Britt.
Thanks, John. I'll get to this weekend's weather in just a moment, but first, let's take a look at today. It's been partly cloudy with showers over some parts. As of 3 p.m, Port Lincoln, Woodna and Kadina had all recorded highs of 18 degrees. It got to 31 at Broken Hill, Port Augusta 27 degrees, Waiala and Port Pirie both reached 23. Looking to the skies and from the satellite, we can see a band of thick cloud crossing the Spencer Gulf, with a trough producing those showers. To our north, it remained clearer under a dry air mass. Moving on to Saturday now, we will start with the Gulf waters. Winds southwesterly at 15 to 20 knots, seas between 1 and 2 metres, with swells south to southwesterly. It's looking to be a cloudy day at Port Lincoln tomorrow, with a high of 18 degrees. Cleve, cloudy and 17. Cloud clearing at Woodna with a top of 22 degrees. Waiala cloudy tomorrow, 19 the top there. Port Augusta cloudy and 21. Kadina partly cloudy with a top of 19. A possible morning shower for Port Pirie, then partly cloudy looking at a top of 20 degrees. Morning showers for Clare tomorrow reaching 16. Broken Hill showers with a possible storm and a top of 25. Sunday is looking fine and partly cloudy across the region, with a little more cloud over the lower Eyre Peninsula. A top of 23 degrees for Woodna, Port Augusta, Port Pirie and Broken Hill all 21. Waiala, Kadina and Adelaide all with tops of 19 degrees. Port Lincoln 17. And now a quick look ahead to next week. Monday, mostly sunny, a top of 18 degrees for Port Lincoln, with maximums in the early to mid-20s about most other centres. And Tuesday is looking to be fine and partly cloudy. Maximum temperatures in the 20s with a top of 29 for Port Augusta and 24 for Kadina. And John, that is the weekend weather. Back to you.
Thanks, Britt. And that's the local news for tonight and the week. Just a reminder, you can keep up with us on our Facebook, Twitter and YouTube pages. I'm John Hunt. Thanks for your company. I'll have updates later, and Ruby Kamain will join you on Monday at 7. Enjoy the footy. Good night.